So what really happened to Sudiksha Konanki? Let's bring back in private investigator Manuel Gomez, who's been following the case from its start. And I want to welcome in celebrity attorney John Phillips. Manuel, let me begin with you, please. Multiple days you're looking at this, learning more information incrementally. Where are your thoughts today about her?
Well, my thoughts are, unfortunately, Julie, is that this case is going to now, in the next about 5 or 6 days, going to stop. They're going to stop searching the waters because they got to the point where they realize they're not going to find her. And it's going to become a cold case file. And it's going to become a cold case file deliberately because the country does not want it to be labeled as a murder or a kidnapping or sex trafficking, because that affects their tourism. And this is why, when you go to the U.S. Department of State website, there's a 2024 trafficking in person in Dominican Republic document, which shows from 2022 to 2024, they've had 1,500 people be kidnapped in this country, and that their police are poorly trained and don't have the skills to do this type of investigation. This is in the United States Department of State report for all Americans to see on every country, and we don't utilize it. Unfortunately, this family needs to do a GoFundMe and get ready to take this to the next level, where private investigators will conduct this investigation for them, because the country eventually is going to stop within a week or so, and that's my prediction.
Great points, Manuel. I'm surprised you haven't gotten a call yet. I bet you will. And that's where things need to go with people who are going to take this seriously. I have to wonder if it was taken seriously and if too much time went by. I mean, Manuel, at first they said, oh, drowning, and it seemed kind of dismissive. You know, are they now at a disadvantage because of how they viewed the case from the outset, not thinking this could be a homicide?
Absolutely. They wasted time, and this is precious time. When you got a case like this, it's like milk. The longer you wait, it goes bad. You have to be on it from the point, and it should have been labeled either a possible murder, so they could have conducted the investigation on the sea and on the land. Instead, we focused all this time on the land, and now, on the sea. And if she is on the land kidnapped, the kidnappers had well enough time to make sure that we don't find her at all. Again, this is going to be like another Natalie Holloway case where the person is not found, and eventually down the road, you might have somebody get arrested. But in this case, I don't see that because they're not putting the energy to that.
Excellent points, Manuel. We'll get back to the investigation in a moment. John Phillips, you're another one who I haven't, I'm surprised hasn't gotten a call yet from someone here, either the Konanki family or the Riibe family. So let's take these in turn. So in terms of Sudiksha Konanki's family, they're putting out a plea publicly, legally. What, if anything else, can they do right now?
It's very difficult because the family's in Virginia. She went to Pitt, and all of this happened in Punta Cana, Dominican Republic. And so you've got multiple jurisdictions. You've got, international searches that you can't control. The reason the show is called 48 Hours, to his great point, is the evidence, it disappears within 48 hours. And so, they seem to be linear focused on this being some spring break thing gone wrong. And, that's what happens when you mix alcohol and hooking up. And that's not really where the evidence is pointing. That's the convenient blame to avoid an international incident.
Yes, well said, John. And then, so follow up for you. So Joshua Riibe, I want to be very clear, not considered a suspect, considered a person of interest right now. He's got concerns too, because, and I want to be very clear, this guy, he may have nothing to do with her disappearance. She very well may have drowned, may have been taken by someone, harmed by someone, we don't know. John, his concerns legally, what should he and his family be doing this morning?
He's a resident of the United States, and the Fifth Amendment applies to him no matter where he goes for purposes of this investigation. And they're not going to, bring him back down, I assume, to the Dominican Republic for questioning. And even if he does, he still has the right to speak to a lawyer and to make sure that the information he's putting out there, one, keeps him with a shroud of innocence, two, doesn't get him caught up in some sort of public media, court of public opinion witch hunt. Because at the end of the day, the evidence seems to be that he was just, kind of in the wrong place at the wrong time with a pretty girl, and now he's kind of caught up into the disappearance of that girl, and that's awful.
It really is, John. You're so right. And he's got rights, and cloaked in the presumption of innocence, not charged even, so I want to be super clear with Joshua Riibe. He's a college student as well. He's a senior at St. Cloud State University in Minnesota. And a little bit that we know about him, he was a wrestler in high school. So high school athlete and a senior college student there on spring break with his friends as well. Manuel Gomez, talk to me about this person of interest. Is there anything that you've read or seen about him that stands out to you and gives you any more questions that should be asked of him at this time?
Yes, and I do believe that, since he's changed his story 4 times and he knew that she was there, he did not. And nobody's focusing on this point. He did not go to the front desk and say, hey, she went missing. Hey, she was drowning. He said he was hit by a wave and that she was taken by the wave. If that was true, then why didn't he report her missing? He didn't do anything, okay? So this guy, I think, should be really taken in and questioned thoroughly in the U.S., and I think that'll scare him possibly to maybe tell the truth. But on the flip side of that, I pray and I hope the family's listening. Please go set up a GoFundMe. Please put a reward for any information to her possible abduction. Please generate that money, because you are going to need private investigators to go out there and do this case, because this is going to come to a halt within the next 5 to 6 days. They're not going to keep looking in the water.
Yeah, great point, Manuel. Money talks. Bottom line, money talks, and it can be so valuable in getting information for cases. I'm so glad you said that, Manuel. Yes, Crime Stoppers organizations around the country get tips all the time because of those rewards. I used to volunteer with one in North Carolina. It's amazing what they can find out, and anonymous is okay if it leads us in the right direction. John Phillips, talk to me, please, if you would, about any concerns with, agencies, flexing? We got a lot of, hands now cooking in the kitchen. Who do you think is best equipped to be handling this? Is it the FBI, John?
It pretty much has to be at this point, because, look, I've been to the Dominican Republic, and I'll probably go back, so I don't want to insult them too much. But Manuel made a great point about the conflict of interest here. They get millions, if not more, in tourist dollars, and they want it to continue to be safe. Meanwhile, an American tourist has gone missing, and nobody is going to really represent her interests with the state of Virginia. I know they're interested, but they don't have any jurisdiction. The FBI can at least flex its muscle to try to find this out, because we do have a massive interest in protecting our tourists that travel abroad.
We sure do. Well said. Such great insight from you both. John Phillips, you're coming with us. Manuel Gomez, you've got your own cases you're working.